Hi, my name is Alycia Schlesinger. Thank you for joining me for Divine Alignment, shifting your consciousness to reveal your inner path to peace and prosperity. What exactly is shifting consciousness? What I'm talking about when I talk about shifting consciousness is taking that time in the morning before you start your day to consciously choose where you're going to place your awareness and to work through whatever is present to come into the truth of what your inner being really is, which is an inner state of joy, of peace, and prosperity. See, from a very early age, we're actually programmed to look outside of ourselves for happiness. We're told in so many ways through media, through teachers, through our own experiences, that our happiness, that sense of fulfillment, that sense of bliss, that sense of prosperity that we're looking for is just one relationship away, one achievement away, one more dollar sign away. And it puts us on this endless loop, this hamster wheel of being dedicated to this sense of achievement that for a lot of people just ends up actually in a sense of a negative loop of misery. When the truth is that default state of prosperity we're looking for is actually inside of ourselves. So why is mastering your inner response and shifting your consciousness the most important thing you can do? It's the thing that creates what your everyday reality is going to be and ultimately your destiny. Now, how did I find this out? Through a perfect storm of circumstances where my outer world all but dissolved in front of me. I realized that I wasn't satisfied in the job I was in. I had a relationship end. I basically lost my financial security, and I also lost my mother, all within 3 short years. And at the same time, I had been doing so much personal development work that I had unearthed some childhood traumatic experiences, which rendered me in this chronic state of suicidal impulses and depression, seemingly from out of nowhere. It wasn't what I was like before the experience, and I had to find a way to move through it. The way that I started to move through it was to look outside of myself for answers. I went to medical experts, I went to therapists, I went to healers, I read books, I got certifications, I watched movies, I sought outside information for as long as I could to try to come to a solution to change my experience. But what I found after reading all of those books and seeing all of those movies and actually working my own process every day is the answer I was looking for was actually inside of myself. See, where we create from ultimately does determine our destiny. For example, if you wake up in the morning and you're in a place of fear and anxiety, the place that you're going to choose your thoughts from, the place you're going to choose your words from, is that place of fear and anxiety. Those words, those thoughts, they're ultimately going to determine your actions and ultimately your destiny. So if you're choosing from fear and doubt and your destiny comes out here, but you're able to shift your consciousness to a place of joy, of bliss, of even a place of neutrality in the morning where you have different choices available to you and you just make a tiny shift, you can see that over time your destiny ends up way up here. So it's essential that we're clear and aware from where we create our thoughts, our words, our choices, and our actions. There's some interesting figures about the conscious mind. They range from expert to expert, but I've heard several times that our conscious mind actually processes approximately 15 billion bits of information a second. Now, of those 15 billion bits, we are able to only consciously be aware of 15 to 2,000 of those. I don't know about you, but when I look at that gap between what we're able to consciously process and what's actually coming in, it's staggering. I mean, which 15 to 2,000 bits does my conscious mind choose to process? And what decisions do I make based on that filtering? What I found through my experience is that inner state of wisdom, that inner source, is actually able to bypass the conscious mind. And that state of awareness is actually much more knowledgeable about what's really going on. When I choose to create from that place, I have a different experience, one that's outside of my conscious mind and one that ends up landing me in an area where there is more prosperity, more peace, and more fulfillment ultimately. The third most important reason to be able to master shifting your consciousness has to do with what I call the deathbed experience. In 2011, after my mom passed away, I got to not only witness her death experience, but I read 35 firsthand encounters of people that had either passed over and come back, or whose near-death experiences had been captured by hospice workers or people that were near their deathbed before they passed. And the single thing that was most important to these people was not their acquisitions, it wasn't their achievements, it was, what did I share with people? Did I love while I was here? Was I actually able to be me? Why that's important and how that relates to shifting your consciousness is when we focus on where we are placing our awareness, we can actually be aware of the gifts that we have to give, the gifts that we were born to give, and make a conscious choice towards fulfilling our destiny instead of being on that hamster wheel that I referred to earlier. If I could leave you with one tool that would help you shift your consciousness, it would be this. There's something called a gratitude walk. I do it almost every morning. It's my favorite tool for shifting consciousness. What I do is I get a CD of my favorite music, you know, the kind of music that really, really moves you. And I'll start out and I'll do about a 25-minute walk. The first 10 minutes, I focus on what I'm grateful for now, in the moment. And I say it out loud to the music, allowing the music to move me and really focusing in on that gratitude. I'm not always grateful when I start the walk, but by the end of it, I'm vibrating at a really high place. Then for the second half of the walk, I start in by saying all of those things that I am grateful for that I would like to experience as if they're happening now. The two of those combined are the most powerful tool I've ever seen for shifting your reality. When I come out of my walk, I'm in a place of love, of peace, of prosperity, a place where I actually feel centered and clear. And the way that I spend the rest of my day is completely contingent on that experience. Thank you so much for allowing me to share with you today. Until next time, peace ahead to your next 24 hours.